Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Convergence Coaching HR Huddle. My name is Renee Moelders. I'm a partner with Convergence Coaching, and I'm here with senior consultant Samantha Mansfield. And we are standing in for Tamara Lorzell and Jennifer Wilson. They're off managing other things today. It's April 8th, and actually we had our calendars kind of blocked off this afternoon as a team because we were at various places around the United States watching the eclipse, which was super cool, Samantha. It was so neat to see that unfold over a couple of hours.
It was. Yes, I was very fortunate being basically 99% coverage. So it was pretty cool to watch in the middle of the afternoon all the light censored lights outside going on and just hearing the bullfrogs that usually start at dusk going crazy and them starting in the middle of the afternoon. So that was fun. It was a unique experience. And we won't get it again until 2044, they're saying. So
yes, that's right. Well, and we were like 95%, and it amazed me how much light was still out. It did get a little bit dimmer and a little bit grayer outside, but it was still pretty bright. So interesting, like scientific phenomena to watch this whole thing happen and all the cool websites on it. So what a fun day. What a special day. And we have a special topic for you today. Actually, we have been following as a team. We ran across a Twitter post from, I believe, a CAS leader who posted out on Twitter. He said, what I'm doing creatively with recruiting these days is I'm asking candidates to send me a video instead of sending me a resume. Or maybe in addition to sending me a resume, instead of sending a cover letter. And we were like, wow, interesting. That is kind of a new idea that we've never really considered. And so we kicked it around in email as a team, and we thought it might be fun to come and kick it around here on the HR Huddle and talk to you about it, because recruiting is always changing. It's moving fast, both from the side of the organization, you HR leaders who are trying to figure out how you sort through all these candidates, how you attract good candidates, how you sort through the resumes, how you make sense of what's coming in. And then also for people who are applying to your organization, really making that exciting for them. And so we thought we'd weave around this idea today of the video and these kind of personalized cover letter, personalized ways of getting your attention. And if you're doing anything like that and what that looks like. So Samantha, I'm going to let you start. What do you think about this whole idea of the video cover letter?
Sure. Well, I mean, one thing I guess I'll share, just if any of you are thinking, I don't know, what's really the advantage? So I was going to share the person who's doing this and what he said. And he said, one, it weeds out the spray and pray applicants. So just like you were talking about, like these tools that people can just spam out their resumes, people have to pause and put a little thought and effort into it. So he said it's really helping massively there. That's a direct quote. He also mentioned that it's faster screening, and he'll listen to it in 2 times instead of just in real time, so he can go through the videos faster, and it certainly gives him an opportunity to view and evaluate more applicants. And then he also said that it provides helpful insights that he just doesn't get in looking at a resume. And I think that's so true. So, when we were talking about this, like you said, Renee, one of our colleagues, I think it was Jen, found this on X or Twitter, and she sent it to us. And so we just all started discussing it. And we were talking about, what a cover letter does, but what a cover letter still doesn't necessarily reveal to us about the person. And when we think about younger generations, which the accounting profession is strongly working on bringing more of those younger professionals in, we want to consider what are their communication channels. And using video to be able to express themselves and communicate is something they're growing up doing. I mean, I don't know a young person today that hasn't recorded videos, spent time on FaceTime. So it's a natural way for them to be able to communicate and may really give you a more of a sense of who they are than perhaps what they're trying to put together in a cover letter, or quite honestly, they may be going to ChatGPT and asking them to write the cover letter because they don't know what to put in there. And the video really may be just a more natural expression and give us this true sense of their enthusiasm and their interest in the position.
Yeah. Well, and Samantha, I'm thinking about our process at Convergence Coaching. So we, we put out a job posting, and I don't call it we don't put out the actual job description. We put out a really interesting, exciting, almost like an advertisement for the job to draw people's attention. We get a bunch of resumes, we sort through those, and then we find, a smaller list of people that we're interested in. And we go do really short screening calls. And we used to do those over the phone, but lately we've incorporated video in every touch point that we have with applicants. And so that's like a 15, 20-minute call. And really that is truly a screening call. It's like, and we send one person to the screening call. So when we do true interviews, we often have two people that go to the interview. But a screening call is like, I've read this person on paper, but what are they like in person, or what are they like live? And so getting to experience their speech, getting to experience their mannerisms, how friendly they are they kind of grouchy in the call, or are they easy to get along with? These kinds of behavioral things, quick things that we're assessing. We're not going really deeply into their background in that call. This really is like, is there any deal breaker that's going to show up in this 15 to 20 minutes that would take this person out of the running so that we can, really like maximize the use of the interviewing teams? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, as you're talking about it, and I hadn't had this thought when we had the whole email conversation, is that a video could do that, because it does give you the idea of, did this person roll right out of the sack, like right out of bed and come to this interview? Or did they like brush their hair, and did they put on a clean shirt or a nicer shirt? It gives you a sense of how committed they are and what they put into getting prepared for it. It'll let you know if they personalize it to your organization. You remember from reviewing cover letters, which all of us have done at some point in the past, that sometimes people forget to replace. And, we're a consulting organization, and it'll say like, I'm so excited to work at your manufacturing company. And you're like, oh gosh, you didn't even try, and so it gives you a sense of if they read the job posting and they put some of that in there, and they really put some thinking into making it applicable to your organization. So some people could like race ahead based on that applicability, which I often see in cover letters. And those people, like to take the time, which very few people do that these days. I take those and I put them over to the side like, wow, this person took the time. I'm definitely going to think about going and having a screening call with them. Yeah. So I do feel like it could sort of race some people past. I'm not sure if I would do it right up front. If I think about our process, I don't know if I would do it for all applicants. It might be like, send us a resume and a cover letter, and then those people who we think we like, then we go to the video. I don't know, because I'm trying to figure, as I'm a Gen Xer. And so I'm thinking about having to go through all those videos, and I don't know if I would enjoy that process. I might prefer the paper more than going through all the videos. And I don't know how you feel about that, Samantha. If you think, like, if you were sitting there going through 300 applicants, how would you want to do it?
To think about going through 300 applicants gives me a little heart palpitations, not gonna lie. But
our HR leaders, we know you're doing that on the regular.
Right. So what that does make me think of, though, is, like you're saying, how can I really identify who are the people who are serious about this? And I think that there are some ideas that you could play with in this area. And I would welcome having a video, and I could have their resume on my other monitor. And as I'm listening to them, I could be scanning their resume and Does it seem consistent? Does there seem to be something that's inconsistent in the way that I hear them speaking and their approach versus how it's written up? Sometimes people can do a really wonderful job in writing about themselves or in an interview, but there can be disconnects. And so to be able to accomplish both of those at the same time, if they submitted a video with their resume, I could see a lot of advantage to that. The other piece that I think could be of big value is, one, making yourself stand apart. Especially if you are looking for younger professionals to come in, like we are in the accounting profession, and you could pose questions and you could say, if you would like to submit a video, up to you if you want to require it, like this practitioner that we saw on X. But if you would like to give the option, you could pose maybe 2 questions that you would like to make sure that they answer, and then leave it open for what else they would like to share. Now, what that can also tell us is, like where you were going with Renee, how much attention to detail are they giving, right? Did they answer the 2 questions? Did they prepare? Or did they say, oh, well, this is easy. I can talk on video for 3 minutes, and they just kind of wander around and aren't structured? Well, that tells us quite a bit right there, right? We need people who are attentive to detail, who are going to be thoughtful in their communication. And so if we pose 3 minutes, we can't give them a lot of questions, but if you give them 1 to 2 questions and then let them talk about themselves otherwise, I think there's a lot that we could learn that could help us filter through faster than I personally could read a bunch of resumes. That's why I said, for me, that gives me a little heart palpitations, because I'm just thinking how long that would take me to read all those resumes. And if I had that video to go along with the resume, I think that could expedite the process for my style.
Yeah, sure. And I guess, again, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm having ideas. This always happens with us, Samantha.
Mhm.
And so I might go through the resumes once and kind of get myself down to 20 or 25 candidates, which is way too many to screen. And then I could use the videos to do a further screen before we get, to get myself down from 25 to 12. And then we're going to go phone screen those people before we get down to who's going to be the ones that we interview. So it could be just another tool to help you get there and to help you get to know those candidates a little bit better. Now, I think there probably are some cons to this. And, one of the things that we talked about a little bit as a team in email was about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And, some firms are trying to figure out a way to not really look at gender or background or race, but look at the person on paper first and, make decisions about who we want to interview first based on, we don't even have a name for this person. So like a name blind process. And so in that case, we felt like that might be one of the concerns about using video. Similar concern is when you have a name, you can go out to LinkedIn and you can find out an awful lot about somebody because they have a picture on LinkedIn. And so race and gender isn't listed there, but obviously you can draw some conclusions in looking at pictures. And also searching on social media with names. Even if somebody, if you're not going to find them on LinkedIn, you might find them somewhere else on social. And so if firms want to incorporate this, they may have to consider some of those diversity, equity, inclusion, or how this is going to fit into their process to make sure that they're, having some like blind processes to get to candidates before they start digging in, meeting people.
Yep. And that's where we talked about 100%. We have to be careful that there are certain biases and opinions that don't pop up as soon as we see somebody on the video, right? And Renee, when we were talking earlier, as silly as an example this might be, it made me think of the show The Voice, right? Where so much of musical talent is based on that look, and they're trying to eliminate that and get to, let's just hear the voice before I have any idea what you look like. Do you have talent, right? And that's the same thing we're trying to do and looking for an applicant. Instead of anything getting in the way of seeing what their true potential is, making sure that we're really assessing it. And that's where, some ideas could be that maybe you listen to audio only initially, and you're not looking at the video. You're truly just asking either for an audio file, or it'd probably be honor system, but I'm just not looking at the video. I'm just listening to the audio file as I'm looking at the resume. Like I said, I could see doing those in tandem. But that's one way that you could do that, to try and make sure I'm not making immediate judgments about whatever the situation could be.
Right. Well, and I'm also thinking right now about, there's so many ways for us to apply our biases to recruiting. For instance, I might say, well, they've got to have a 4-year degree. If they don't have a 4-year degree, then they're not going to work out at our firm. Or if they don't have an A and B average, a 3.0, then there's no way that they're going to be successful, or a 3.5. So there's just all these sort of like systems that we've set up over time that tell us what a successful candidate is, that exclude some people from having the opportunity to get into our applicant pool. And so we might have to look at some of that too. It's not just about names and race and gender. It's about some wider things where we could introduce those biases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the other concerns I think we had as a team, and actually one of the members of our team who's really responsible for recruiting on a regular basis, went out and talked to ChatGPT about this idea of using a 3-minute video. And she said to ChatGPT, you're an HR expert, and what do you think about this idea? What are the pros and cons of using video in the interviewing or the application process? And some of the other cons that ChatGPT came up with, which I thought were really good, Samantha, is, are we going to make it hard for people to be able to get us videos? Or is this like a big technical challenge for people? Or can some people do it, some people can't? Or it's going to be frustrating because it's painful to try to submit these videos. So, we would have to figure out those technical issues for sure.
Mm-hmm. And until you have that completely mapped out, that's where I would say it's an optional, but it can be appealing to those who would like to take you up on that option. But unless you have a really solid process for them to be able to submit the process, to submit the video, I would be careful about making it mandatory. So you're 100% right. You need to make sure that people have an easy way to be able to submit those, as opposed to maybe an email link or something that could get additionally stripped out, or your security on the network flagging it and stripping out options. We got to watch for all of those things. File sizes, all of that you would want to talk to your IT about, and make sure that there's a way that can be uploaded and verified for you to be able to partake in doing the video watching. So I think that's a really important aspect before you make anything like this a mandatory as part of your application process.
Sure. And I wonder, because, we're not using any of the big platforms like LinkedIn Recruiting, or I know there are others out there, applicant tracking systems and applicant systems that allow you to pull all this data in. So it would be interesting to know if those systems are allowing for video. Maybe they're more ahead of this than we are, Samantha. So if any of our listeners know about that, you could definitely chat about it in the platform that you're watching in, and we'll watch for that information because we are curious about it. One last con, by the way, that ChatGPT floated out there was legal concerns. And so I would say, like around privacy or around discrimination, sensitive information. So definitely, if you're going to do something like this and you aren't already doing it, you might want to talk to a labor attorney to just say, what are any considerations? Is there anything to be concerned about here before we embark on this new adventure of really asking for video? And we have actually had one candidate. Turns out in this whole conversation, we found out that we had a candidate that submitted a video just of their own accord. And so you may already be all over this, folks. You may be seeing it, but we definitely think it's something that's going to be happening more. And so something that we should start paying attention to, maybe requesting, maybe figuring out the technical aspects of, and then also thinking through the DE&I implications and how we're going to get around those as well. So Samantha, this was a fun topic. You suggested that we talk about it. After all that vibrant discussion and email, we thought, let's come and have it with the HR audience. And so thanks for raising it. And thank you everyone for being with us today for this discussion. Again, chat with us if you have ideas on this or questions. And we appreciate you being with us. Thank you so much and have a great rest of this last busy week in our accounting firms. Yay, we're almost to 4:15. So thanks, everybody. Have a great week.